Hello students, welcome back. Today we are going to take the second module of our chapter The Time Machine from our literature book, page number 33. At the end of the class, you will be able to read and comprehend the paragraph, to enjoy and understand science fictions, to appreciate the imagination of the author, to understand the vocabulary and description used to describe a new world. So, my dear students, before moving on to the new part, let us revise whatever things we have come across in the last class. So, here a small summary is given here. The scientist narrator is a time traveler narrating his experience of traveling into future in a time machine he had constructed in his laboratory. He sat in the seat of his time machine in the lab at 10 o'clock one morning and pulled the go lever. A minute later, he pulled the stop lever. He felt a dizzy feeling of falling as in a nightmare. He thought his mind was playing trick since he was still in the seat of invention in the laboratory. He checked the time and was surprised to find that it was not just a minute but 5.5 hours since he had begun the experiment. He conducted the experiment again by pulling the go lever. The lab grew fainter and he experienced a strange, unpleasant sense of speed as he spent more than some 800 and 2000 years into the future. Days and night seemed to spin faster and faster. The moon changed its phase from new moon to full moon at high speed, and the stars circled above. Even the speed of the slowest snail seemed too fast for him. He pushed the stop lever, though he feared the machine might break if it was halted suddenly. It was a risk he had to take to stop time machine. It seemed to go, of course, as it flung him through the air. When he stood up and looked around, he found that it was raining. He could not see anything else in the haze of the heavy downpour, except a huge figure carved in white marbles. It was like winged sphinx. It seemed to be looking at him with sightless eyes and a slight smile. So, my dear students, we have stopped there. Now, let's see what happened next. It was suddenly struck by the boldness of my voyage. I started then to feel great curiosity and also a certain dread. What strange development of humanity! What wonderful advance would I find? What might have happened to man? What if cruelty had grown into common passion? What if the race had developed into something inhuman, unsympathetic, and incredibly powerful? So, in the last class, we discussed that he reached in the future and he stepped out of the time machine. After a few time, suddenly he was amazed because of his courage to undertake such a dangerous journey in the future. For the first time, he was scared for his safety and yet curious to see what the future would be like. He himself was asking so many questions. He wondered if the cruelty in human beings had made them inhuman and uncompassionate, though powerful. Here in this paragraph, we can see he is worrying about the future of the world, the future of the human being, and how would be their character. How will they be passionate? Will they be very kind, or will they have cruelty? Will they have inhuman nature? He was thinking about all that, and we can see that he is worrying about that. Now let's see what happened next. We can move on to the next paragraph. Soon the sun started to shine through the clouds. I could see other vast shapes around the sphinx, huge building with intricate walls and tall columns. I began to panic. I turned to the time machine and tried quickly to fix it and prepare for a journey back. I felt defenseless. In a strange world, my fear grew. So, my dear students, he is explaining about his condition there. In the first paragraph, he was thinking about how the people was in the future look like. Now, as the sun began to shine through the clouds, he could see huge building around the sphinx. He felt defenseless. He was having no weapon with him in this strange world, and began to panic. He began to panic. He tried to get his time machine started to go back to the present. Now let's see what will happen. You can see a picture of phoenix. This is a phoenix in a circular opening high up in the wall of a nearby house. I saw a group of figures clad in rich, soft robes. They had seen me and their faces were direct towards me. Then I heard voices approaching me. Coming through the bushes by the white sphinx were the head and shoulder of men running. One of these emerged in a pathway leading straight to me. He was a small creature, perhaps 4 feet high, clad in a purple tunic, tied at the waist with a leather belt. So, dear students, after a while, in an opening in the wall of a house, he saw a group of men in rich, soft robes, soft clothes. From the bushes by the white phoenix, men came running. One of them come towards our traveler, the time traveler. He was short and was dressed in a purple tunic with a belt at the waist. So his appearance and the height, you please not, he is only 4 feet tall, and he was covered in a purple tunic, and a leather belt was also tied to his waist. So now see what will happen next. At the sight of him, I suddenly regained confidence. I took my hands from the machine. In another moment, we were standing face to face. He came straight up to me and laughed into my eyes. There was no sign of fear in him. There were others coming, and presently a little group of perhaps 8 or 10 of these creatures were about me. In the last paragraph, we see that the time traveler was trying to fix his time machine to travel back. At that time, he saw a few people coming out of that building. So, when they were coming near to him, the scientist regained his courage for the man, because the man was looking straight into his eyes and he was laughing. He had no fear. Soon the rest of the man, they gathered around the strange visitor from the past. The hair was curly and came to a sharp end at the neck and cheek. There was none of their face. Their mouth was small, with bright red, rather thin lips and their little chin ran to a point. Their eyes were large and mild. The first of these creatures hesitated and then touched my hands. Then I felt other soft little tentacles upon my back and shoulder. They want to make sure I was real. There was nothing in this at all alarming, and besides, they looked so weak that I could imagine myself flinging the whole dozen of them easily. In this passage, the appearance of that strange people is clearly described. Let us see how do they look like. Their hair was curly and short. Their faces smooth with small mouth, thin red lips and pointy chins. Their eyes were large and gentle. They touched the time traveler to make sure that he was real, and they spoke among themselves in strange language. The scientist pointed to him and the time machine, and he himself was thinking like that they are very small, and he think that he can fight against them dozen of people them very easily. Now we can see how do they behave back to our time traveler. They made no effort to communicate with me, but simply stood round me, smiling and speaking in a soft and strained language to each other. I began conversation. I pointed to the time machine and to myself, then hesitating for a moment about how to express time. I pointed the sun. At once, one of them followed my gesture and then astonished me by imitating the sound of thunder. Here we can see that they were not ready to talk with our time traveler. They didn't take any effort to speak with them, but instead of that they spoke among themselves in a very strange language. And they tried to touch him and find out whether he was a real machine, real person. So here our time traveler tried to communicate with them. So he pointed to himself and the time machine and then to the sun to tell them he had come from time past in a time machine. He was surprised. They had misunderstood him when one of them imitated the sound of thunder. They thought he had come from the sun in a thunderstorm. For a moment I was staggered, though the meaning of his gesture was clear. The question had come into my mind suddenly. Were these creatures fools? You see, I had always hoped that the people of the year 800 and 2000 odd would be incredibly advanced in knowledge, art, everything. Then one of them suddenly asked me a question that showed him to be on the intelligence level of one of 4 5-year-old children. He had asked me, in fact, if I had come from the sun in a thunderstorm. A flow of disappointment rushed across my mind. For a moment, I felt that I had built the time machine in vain. So, as we already discussed, for a second he was stuck because he was not able to understand what did they ask. When he tried to find out the question they have asked, he was thinking whether these creatures are fool. You see, I had always hoped, he thought that the people in the future will be more intelligent than us. So when he find out that they only have an intelligent level of a 5-year child of us, because they asked whether he have come from a thunderstorm. He had imagined that the people of the future to be advanced in knowledge, whereas these people seemed to be innocent like children. He felt his invention of the time machine had been a waste of time. So, my dear students, that's all about the story The Time Machine, written by H.G. Wells. I hope you all have understood today's class. Let us meet with a new topic in the next day. Dear students, thank you. Thank you, students, for listening. Hope you to meet in the next class. Bye.